All right, everyone, it's Taco Tuesday, and I have you covered with the top props to go with each taco. So one thing I do want to call out is that last week's Taco Tuesday video went 5 for 5, and then obviously if you added in the tacos that went 3 for 3, you had yourself a very good day, regardless of how you chose to bet it. And I'm really just bringing this up because I want to point out that there are different ways you can go about betting on Taco Tuesday. Because obviously the taco hitting about 85 to 90% of the time, that's essentially a free square. And so my strategy is I tell people to bet each of these individually. Okay, that way we are pretty much giving ourselves at least a break even every single time, or profit every single time. Now I want to call this out because you could have easily used this slip to then have 3 6 for 6 lineups or slip. And the reason I want to bring that up is because I get asked a bunch, hey, how should I go about betting on Taco Tuesday? And that's really going to be up to you guys, your own personal strategy. The one thing I want to echo every single time when I get asked that question is stick to one strategy. So if you are someone that is, doing a max slip of 6 bets, with a taco, that can be profitable. So I have done this 3 times over the past 6 months, giving out you guys a 6 for 6 slip, including, the tacos hitting. So let's just do the math on that. So, a typical bet, I would say on PrizePicks is $5. You take 5 divided by 125, which is what you'd hit, obviously 25x. Okay, we take 25 times 25, which is the max you can put in on a Taco Tuesday slip. You're gonna win $625. Last week, had you done that with all the slips, you would have had yourself kind of a massive profit there. Okay, you'd risked $75 and won a ton. Right? And this is all nice and pretty here, but let's be honest, that's not going to happen. This has only happened 3 times over the past 6 months. That being said, for us to have profit with that over the past 6 months, we would have only needed to hit it once. So we've done that 3 times. And that's my point of have a strategy and stick to it, because it's going to be successful in the long term if you continue to make the correct decisions. Okay. Now my content and picks that I give out is very much concentrated on being correct on each and every slate, but you can also use to have a long-term strategy as well. Okay. I just wanted to make that clear. I wanted to call that out. So now if we go ahead and take a peek at the board today, it is going to be an interesting board. We have 2 really good hitting fantasy score props that I like, one WNBA and a couple of decent MMA props. Now, the only worry or the only issue that I have with these is that some of them are going to be on Saturday, and a lot of people just don't like to have that money tied up. I'm kind of fine with it. If we're just getting our best bets possible, I'm okay with kind of rolling with that. But let's go ahead and start out with MLB. All right, so looking at it just in terms of EV bets, the best one that we are going to get is going to be Mac McClain here, where his hits, runs, RBIs line is set at 1.5. He's projected to get 2.21, which I like. And obviously this has about a 54% chance to hit. That bodes well for him being able to hit this number consistently. Another decent one would be Altuve for over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. You can see about a 53.7% chance to hit, but he is projected to get over that by a decent amount as well. So not a terrible one to roll with there. Those are 2 pretty decent ones there that I like. And then just one that I want to call it as well for pitcher strikeouts. This one is fascinating. So Jordan Montgomery, PrizePicks and Underdog have the line set at 6, and Vegas is favoring the over heavily, but they're favoring the over heavily at 5.33. So if we adjust it, yes, the over of 5.33 would have about a 52.4% chance to hit. Or sorry, the line of 6 would have about a 52.3% chance to hit, but you tack on the projection data also being there at 5.48. That's just a very interesting line, I would say. Then we got some more like that. Nico here for hitting fantasy score. It's a little bit different, obviously looking at it like that, but we got another one, pitcher strikeouts. Basically the exact same situation there as Jordan Montgomery for Jack. Just some interesting pitching strikeout props. I just want to call those out. We are getting some prop line differences for those 2 that we typically do not get in terms of Vegas line. Now, yes, it's heavily favoring the over at 5.3 pretty much for both of those, but just something I want to call out because we don't typically see those big of differences in lines. Let's take a peek at the hitting fantasy score. So as you guys know, this is something that typically is, just this summer, it's been great. The hitting fantasy score props have been great. Continue to roll. And the 2 best ones that we are going to get are going to be Corey Seager for over his hitting fantasy score prop at 7.5. Nothing too crazy. But if you look at the Vegas line, they would be saying that the line should be at 10.8. And you look at the projection data has the line set at 9.88. So we're getting a pretty good edge there. And then also Devers here as well. Another one where we're getting a pretty good edge. Now, yes, the under's being heavily favored for these, but the under's being heavily favored for these at like 10.7, whereas the PrizePicks line is at 7.5. So those are going to be 2 very good ones to go ahead and pair with the tacos. I'm perfectly, fine using those. And then we don't have that many other good ones. Maybe Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, if you guys want to roll with those as well, you could. I don't mind those. At the end of the day, if we don't have any more good EV bets that pop up, we can roll with those. Now, I do want to call some discrepancy-based props that we have because those are looking pretty nice. And before I get into that, I just want to remind you guys of the promo code that's going on currently on the 9 to 5 website. You get 50% off your first month 9 to 5 membership. That's going to be available for new members only. Use the promo code PLAYOFFS to get that 50% off. Why I'm using playoffs is because it's golf right now. The playoffs are currently a week away from being done. Okay, so it's kind of exciting. So take advantage of that. But yes, looking at the discrepancies here now. So yeah, we have some pretty big discrepancies in terms of MMA props. And given the board that we have right now, I would be comfortable using these ones. I want to point out that they're all going to be probably betting the over here for these two MMA ones where it's significant strikes here. We typically don't see that big of a prop line difference. Really. And now this one is going to be the better of the two because the line is smaller. So the prop line difference that we are getting on this one is greater. So, you know, the percent difference, about 56% difference, that is huge. That adds up. Okay. So that's easily going to be probably the best one that I like, just given that fact that, you know, one, you could bet on Underdog as well, bet the under there. We're on PrizePicks, obviously, we're betting the over, and both could hit because 8 is a big difference there. But at such a small number, it's an even greater distance. Whereas this one here with Ian Gary for significant strikes, the 7.5 difference is clearly, or the 7 difference is clearly not as good. Only about a 53 prop line difference there. So yes, both are pretty good, but obviously the Gregory Rodriguez one's gonna be one that we want to roll with the most. And then we do have this one, another one for MMA for takedowns. We could bet the under for 2. You know, I think best case scenario push, or obviously best case scenario cash, potentially worst case scenario push. I would say this line that we're getting on Underdog, probably better to just bet the over there. But yeah, MMA wise, we're getting a decent amount of prop line differences. What I find interesting is that they have tightened up the League of Legends props this summer. But once again, at like 1 p.m., that's typically when the lines drop. You never know. There could be some really good ones there to go with a taco. And for what's worth, typically I would show you guys some WNBA based props. It's such a small slate that I don't think it's really worthwhile for us. The lines will get adjusted pretty quickly. All right, so getting into the bet of the day, as you guys know, what I like to do, as I explained at the beginning of the videos, I do like to bet these individually with the taco. So I like to pair these up as individual bets with the taco. And that is just to assure good bankroll management. Pretty much taking advantage of what I like to call free promo money with the tacos. They're trying to give us free money. Let's take advantage of it. So these are the 5 best ones that I like right now. Obviously, I explained this MMA one. You know, that's a pretty good line that we're getting. Big prop line difference there. And then also takedowns here. You know, maybe it has a push. That's the only fortunate side of it, is that it is at an even number. So the chances of it being a push, it's not great. That obviously doesn't help us. And then looking at these are going to be the 2 best hitting fantasy score props that we have. Typically speaking, these are some of the best props to bet on, is just like the fantasy score ones. And then I actually saw this one as well as I was looking for another bet to make a 5th bet out there. The less than fantasy score for Bailey here. So if you guys want to roll with that, you certainly could. Just a reminder again, take advantage of the promo code. Good value out there for you guys. But that's going to be all for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give a like and subscribe. Let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cashing.